Hello friends and welcome to my Dancer guide. Dancer is part of the physical ranged family of jobs, boasting high raid damage via buffs and plenty of utility to help your team. We'll start with all the skills and abilities, then onto the opener and rotation, and finish off with the stat priority. So without further delay, let's begin. First, let's go over Dancer's basic GCDs and oGCDs. Cascade into Fountain, Dancer's basic 1-2 single target combo, and Windmill into Blade Shower, Dancer's basic 1-2 AoE combo to be used on 3+ targets. Cascade and Windmill have a 50% chance to grant the Dancer Silken Symmetry, lasting 30 seconds, which allows the usage of Reverse Cascade, a single target GCD, and Rising Windmill, an AoE GCD, to be used on 2 or 3+ targets as it's damage neutral on 2 targets. Reverse Cascade and Rising Windmill have a 50% chance to proc 4-fold Feathers, which grants us access to Fandance 1, a single target OGCD, and Fandance 2, an AoE OGCD, to be used on 2+ targets. The Dancer can hold up to a maximum of 4-fold Feather procs, which can be held indefinitely, but make sure to not overcap them. Fandance 1 and 2 have a 50% chance to proc 3-fold Fandance, granting the Dancer access to Fandance 3, a simple AoE OGCD which can be held for a maximum of 30 seconds and doesn't hold more than 1 charge. So make sure to use Fandance 3 before using another Fandance 1 or 2. Similar to Cascade and Windmill, Fountain and Blade Shower have a 50% chance to grant the Dancer Silken Flow, which allows the usage of Fountain Fall, a single target GCD, and Blood Shower, an AoE GCD, to be used on 2+ targets. Just like with Reverse Cascade and Rising Windmill, Fountain Fall and Blood Shower both have a 50% chance to proc 4-fold Feather. An easy way to think about single target versus AoE is this. For 2+ targets, use single target non-procs and AoE procs. For example, use Cascade and Fountain, and when Silken procs, use Rising Windmill and Blood Shower. For 3+ targets, just use all your AoE attacks. On the topic of fans and flourishing, we also have Flourish, an OGCD on a 1-minute cooldown, granting the Dancer Flourishing Symmetry, allowing the usage of Reverse Cascade or Rising Windmill, and Flourishing Flow, allowing the usage of Fountain Fall or Blood Shower. These two can stack with Silken Symmetry and Flow. Furthermore, we have 3-fold Fandance, allowing the usage of a Fandance 3, and 4-fold Fandance, which allows the usage of Fandance 4. Fandance 4 is an OGCD AoE attack, and all these effects will last up to a total of 30 seconds. With the basics out of the way, let's move on to dancing and the E-Spirit gauge. First, closed position. It's highly important that the Dancer gives another player their closed position, which will grant them dance partner, sharing the benefits of Standard Finish, Curing Waltz, Devilment, and Tiliana. More on those later though. Typically, melees are the highest on the priority to give dance partner, then casters, then other physical ranged. Now let's move on to Standard Step and Technical Step. Standard Step is on the GCD with a 30-second cooldown and should be used off cooldown. It will initiate dancing and turn the Dancer's basic GCDs into steps. Simply press the 2 steps that show up on the dance gauge from left to right, or just press the buttons as they light up, and then press Standard Step again to use Standard Finish. Standard Finish is a GCD AoE attack and grants the effect of Standard Finish and E-Spirit to self and dance partner, lasting up to 60 seconds. Standard Finish grants a 5% damage increase, and E-Spirit will increase the Dancer's E-Spirit gauge by 5 for every Cascade, Fountain, Windmill, and Blade Shower casted, and increase the gauge by 10 for every Reverse Cascade, Fountain Fall, Rising Windmill, and Blood Shower. As for the dance partner under the effect of E-Spirit, every GCD they execute has a chance of increasing the E-Spirit gauge by 10. These effects last up to 60 seconds. The E-Spirit gauge holds up to a total of 100 and grants the Dancer access to Saber Dance, an AoE GCD costing 50 E-Spirit gauge. Make sure to use these and not overcap your gauge. We then have Technical Step, which is also on the GCD and is on a 2-minute cooldown. Similar to Standard Step, this will initiate a dance sequence, but rather than 2 steps, the Dancer must use all 4 steps steps in a random order. Just like with standard step, the dance gauge will show the dancer the sequence of steps. Simply press the sequence in the order from left to right, or just press the buttons as they light up, and then technical step will become technical finish, an AoE GCD attack, and grants the effects of technical finish and E-Spirit to self and all party members. Just like with standard finish, technical finish is a 5% damage increase buff, and E-Spirit remains the same and lasts 20 seconds. This means all party members will have the 5% damage increase and the E-Spirit, so the dancer will be generating their E-Spirit gauge at a much higher rate than normal. Just remember that it's important to not let the E-Spirit gauge overcap, so use any saber dances you can during the opener before you lock yourself into another standard step and be stuck with an overcapped E-Spirit gauge. Additionally, technical finish will grant flourishing finish, which allows the usage of Tiliana, an AoE GCD attack attached with the same effects of a standard finish. Lastly, we have Devilment, an oGCD on a 2-minute cooldown, granting self and dance partner 20% critical hit and direct hit rate for 20 seconds. Devilment also grants the effect of Flourishing Starfall for 20 seconds, which allows one usage of a Starfall dance, an AoE GCD attack with a guaranteed critical direct hit. Finally, let's move on to Dancer's utility actions, starting with Curing Waltz. Curing Waltz heals self and dance partner for 300 cure potency on a 1-minute cooldown. The cure effect has a 3-arm radius, and any nearby party members within the radius will also receive the heal from Curing Waltz. If the dancer and dance partner were to stack with the party, this would result in a total of 600 cure potency to the entire party. Or if there was a light party mechanic, we could have the dancer and the dance partner be in separate parties and heal each light party for 300 cure potency each, just to give some examples of how good this tool can be. Next we have Shield Samba, which will reduce damage taken by self and all nearby party members by 10% for 15 seconds on a 90-second cooldown. Great to be used on raid wides and raid busters. Use this liberally. Then we have Improvisation, an oGCD on a 2-minute cooldown. Upon using Improvisation, the dancer will begin dancing for 15 seconds, and any action or movement used in between will cancel the effect. While dancing, the dancer will grant self and nearby party members within 8 yalms a regen effect with a cure potency of 100 per tick. Additionally, the dancer will generate a stack of Rising Rhythm every 3 seconds, up to a maximum of 4. These stacks will be used on Improvised Finish, which will replace Improvisation. Improvised Finish will grant self and nearby party members within the Improvisation effect a barrier with varying strengths depending on the number of stacks generated while dancing as shown. While Improvisation is great, getting all 4 stacks during a point in an encounter with uptime would result in a significant potency loss, as the dancer would not be doing any actions for an entire 15 seconds. To avoid this, the dancer can opt in to use Improvisation as a double weave to get the regen effect and a 5% barrier during uptime, or using it during a point of downtime to get the full 10% barrier along with the regen effect. Finally, Unavor. Unavor dashes the dancer 10 yalms forward on a 30-second cooldown and holds up to 3 charges. This is a great mobility tool. Additionally, Unavon and crossroll actions can be used during standard step and technical step. Which leads us to the crossroll actions, starting with Second Wind. Second Wind heals self for 500 cure potency on a 2-minute cooldown, a nifty spot heal. Can be great during highly intensive damaging phases to help your healers, or when taking avoidable damage, just to list some examples. Next, Arm's Length. Arm's Length is on a 2-minute cooldown and nullifies most knockback and draw-in effects for 6 seconds. Essentially our anti-knockback, and to be used when an encounter is about to use a knockback. On to Peloton. Peloton is on a 5-second cooldown and increases movement speed of self and nearby party members and lasts 30 seconds, but the effect will expire when entering combat. Good to be used in between dungeon pulls and good to be used in the opener before starting an encounter, which can be great if an encounter will require sprint within the first 60 seconds. This means melees and tanks can save the sprint and use the Peloton's movement speed to reach the boss sooner instead. Then we have Head Graze. Head Graze is on a 30-second cooldown and interrupts the target's actions if it can be interrupted, which is shown via the color of the cast bar. Lastly, we have Leg and Foot Graze, both on a 30-second cooldown. Leg Graze afflicts the target with a heavy effect for 10 seconds, and Foot Graze binds the target for 10 seconds. Most high-end encounters are immune to these effects, but it can be used in open world content, dungeons, or niche content like Deep Dungeon. With all that out of the way, let's move on to the opener and rotation. Finally, the stat priority, which goes like this. Skill speed until your GCD is at 2.47, critical hit, and then a healthy balance between direct hit and determination. And that will be a wrap for this guide. Overall, Dancer is a pretty approachable job and is always a great addition to any party composition with a wide array of utility and party damage buffs. Thank you if you made it all the way to the end of the video, and if you like what you see, then make sure to give it a like. If you aren't subscribed yet and enjoy my content, then consider hitting subscribe for more content just like this. If you have any feedback or just let me know how you find the job, then let it be heard in the comments below. If you'd like to support me any further, you can follow me at the socials below, Twitch for my live streaming content, Twitter for some dumb tweets, and Discord for a like-minded community. Also, if you're feeling extra generous, you can now become a channel member and have your name credited at the end of the video just like this. Big thank you to my channel members. With all that said and done, I shall see you guys in the next one. But until then, take it easy, stay safe, we out. Goodbye.